Hello everyone. We are here once again to discuss about how can you manage the XAT examination, and we have curated a list of questions that every aspirant has about the XAT examination. So my name is Rohan. I'm a first year business management student at XLRI Jamshedpur, and
my name is Abipsa and I'm also a first year student at XLRI Jamshedpur, and today we have here with us Dr. Rahul Shukla, who is the convener of XAT examination and admissions, and I'm very sure that the aspirants would be getting a lot of useful insights from this conversation.
So thank you, Rohan, and thank you, Abipsa. So I'm here again to meet you all. I am sure you have lots of questions, queries. Our friends have already curated a list of questions, and we'll try to take live questions as well in this session. And hopefully I will try to give the answers which are with me. If I don't have, definitely I will tell them that I will work on them if you have any queries and suggestions. And of course, our objective is to make your journey in XAT better. Also, I'm sure they have questions about our XLRI campus. So many of you who are looking forward to come to Excel, they will help you in understanding how you can come to a place like XLRI and many other associate schools of XAT.
Yes. So to begin with, could you possibly walk us through the pattern of XAT examination and if there are any changes that have been introduced this year?
So this year we have not made any changes in our test. So we have part 1, we have part 2. In part 1, we have our section called verbal ability and logical reasoning. We have a section called quantitative aptitude and data interpretation. And also in that we have decision making. They are the standard sections of part 1. And in part 2, we have general knowledge or general awareness. Last year we removed the academic essay writing from the part 2 for a simple reason. Not because there was any problem, but we realized that in many centers students were facing issues with hardware, right? And also it was unnecessarily adding to the time. And our exam is conducted in the second part, or maybe in post lunch, or it is from 2 to 5. So our fear was that those who are taking tests in the eastern part of the country, or those who are from the northern part of the country, they face issues because for some it's very late, right? So we moved it from there to our interview, or when we have GD and PI round, we have moved to that round. And also in general awareness, earlier we used to have 25 questions. Last year we brought them down to 20 questions. So in those 20 questions, 12 questions are majorly about current affairs and 8 questions are about static GK, and we are still sticking to the same.
Okay. So sir, how is the marking scheme designed, and what penalties exist for like unanswered questions, and how it will be distributed like across sections?
So that's a good question. So every year from 2023, we are publishing what we call XAT overview. So we very specifically give details about what kind of penalties you will have to face if you drop questions. But again, to reiterate, for every right question, you get some marks, but for every wrong questions also, you lose some marks, right? So for every wrong question, you lose around 0.25 marks. And after 8 questions, if you don't attempt 8 questions, you will have to lose 0.10 marks, right? So you might be surprised that for attempting wrong also we are deducting marks, and then if you don't attempt more than 8 questions also, you have to pay a penalty. For that, the logic is you try to attempt those questions which you know, right? But we also don't want you to attempt each and every question, right? So we want you to be mindful and watchful across handling the questions. That's it.
And sir, how is the distribution like across the sections? Is it similar for all the sections?
So there is a variation. If you take, like for instance, if you talk about verbal ability and logical reasoning, there we have 26 questions. In our decision making section, we have 21 questions. And when it comes to our quantitative aptitude and data interpretation, we have 28 questions. And when you go to part 2, where we have general awareness, we have around 20 questions now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there like any negative marking in part 2 also, or is that?
No, there is no negative marking in part 2, and there's a lot of misconception. In fact, currently I'm teaching in one of the terms, and students have this misconceptions believing that, in fact, today itself one of my students was telling me, sir, I did very badly in general awareness and still I'm sitting inside XLRI. Does it mean that my general awareness score is not considered? So I told, no, that's not at all. General awareness is exclusively used for XLRI Jamshedpur. It is not a part of your percentile, but once you go through the process, when I say process, you appear for the XAT exam, your score from there, your PI score, then there is some score for your profile, right? Plus, there is some score for your VAT. Once we are ready with that merit, we add the general awareness score to check where you stand on the merit. So I told him you might be in the top 10, top 20, but because your score was low on general awareness, there might be a possibility you would have come down. But you would have done exceptionally well in your interviews, and therefore you're sitting inside the class. So it gets added, it's important, but it's important only for XLRI. And we add it towards the end. Once your merit list is ready, we add that score to check who can come up because of the general awareness.
Okay. And so, are there any tips or strategies that one should follow when they are sort of preparing how to manage time across these different sections?
So I would say, see, managing time is very challenging, to be honest. You have to manage yourself, right? Time will get managed. So I would say the best strategy would be, good thing is in that we don't test speed. We don't try to test speed. That's never our objective. It happens, that's a different affair, but that's never our objective. Our objective is we want to understand if a student can think on the move. That's why if you see the nature of our questions, majorly they want students to use their thinking skills. That's what is our objective. So my suggestion would be, we give enough time for the first section, around 170 minutes we give. Right? In those 170 minutes, you can actually toggle among the sections. You can move from decision making to quantitative aptitude and data interpretation. From there you can again come to verbal ability and logical reasoning. So you can, if you can move around, you have to start with that section you are either very good with or you believe it will take more of your time. It's your choice. Some people start with something which requires more time. Some people start with something or with a section where they believe they are very good and it would actually be done conveniently in a time they have allocated for that particular section. So you decide based on your strength or based on what you feel is difficult. And I would also suggest that in between, in case you are stuck in one question and you are finding it challenging, you can move to another question or another section. That liberty we give, because we are not putting any pressure of time on you. So allocate time for every section. If ideally I have to go about taking the test, I would say for every section you need to have some time on the back of your mind, right? And if you believe that, based on your strength, and if you believe that your time is actually getting overly used in a particular section, you should drop that section and move to the section, because at the end of the day, there is your overall percentile which helps you. But to come to a place like XLRI or many important B schools, you need to have decent sectional cutoff as well, right? So you should not compromise on your sectional scores because you are focusing only on one section, right? So try to have time distributed based on strengths to each section, right? And don't spill over. Also keep this little thing in mind that if you are spilling over, you have to move to another section. Don't waste too much of time on a particular question, right? So overall strategy should be that I will try to use my strengths to my advantage. Also, along with that, I will keep in mind that even if it's my strength area, if I'm struggling, I will quickly move out and go to another section. Best part is that we don't have a sectional issue that you cannot move. You have freedom to move from one section to another, and we give you 170 minutes. So prudently allocate time, prudently try to understand what you do well, and prudently try to check how much time each type of question requires for you, right? If you have those things on your mind, you can decide on the go what to do.
Yeah. And sir, our next question would be like, what advice would you give to the students who are preparing for the DM section? Because it's a completely new section.
So decision making is something which is unique about Xavier aptitude test. I'm sure everybody knows it. In fact, the same thing happened today when we were discussing about the test, and one of the students said, "Sir, don't you think it has a subjective element in it, right?" And I very clearly told him, he's also a student here in our HR program. I said, "You might find it subjective, but we know it's not subjective. There is always a logic hiding behind the right answer. We are not giving the rationale. Of course, we share the key for a simple reason, because decision making is unique and it requires a lot of time and effort to create those questions, right? And we know that of course, if we tell how to go about it, because it's a very niche area, it would be very difficult to create questions, and we don't want that question to get gamed at all, right? Best way to handle decision making is, of course, there are no tricks. People say if there is an ethically correct answer, it would be a correct answer, right? that we also know when we are making a question, right? Ki ethically correct answer is a right answer. So we would avoid putting ethically correct answer. Of course, we will avoid such answers which are ethically correct. So we avoid touching ethics sometimes because we know that if we are putting, then other options are completely weak options, right? So we avoid going into that zone. We try to keep the one answer which always stands out. What students need to keep in mind when they're attempting the decision making section is, who is a decision maker in that situation, how many resources are available, and based on those resources, what is the best answer, right? You have like, just let me give you an analogy. For instance, if I have got a particular score in XAT, right? So based on that score, I will decide which college I can go, right? Ideally, you would like to go to the best college. That's an ideal answer, right? But what my score is telling me will help me understand where I can go, right? I can land up in one of the best colleges, but not the one I want because my score is not matching the way the score they require. And therefore, in attempting the decision making questions, you have to keep this little thing in mind, that even suboptimal answers are correct based on the information given in a particular STEM, right? So that was a bad example of scores, but that's what you have to understand to help you understand how it works. So look for resources, look for data, look for decision maker, and also read the question very meticulously to understand what are they looking forward to, right? And based on the given data, arrive at an answer, and also use something called process of elimination. Try to check which option is not supporting the question, right? So I guess if you go by this, it helps. There are no resources available as such on decision making, but I have heard that some tutorials across the country are providing some help. But if you have to take my suggestion or my piece of advice, I would say that you should go by PYQs. Previous year question papers are enough to help you in developing a good understanding on decision making. In fact, there are toppers on campus who have done very well in XAT. When I discuss with them how they could do so well in decision making, they keep telling me that we only solved the previous year question papers. So I would say that is the best resource. Understand the situation in a best possible way. Try to understand who is the decision maker. Try to understand the constraints in that situation, the resources. Based on that, you arrive at an answer. You will always find an answer.
So now talking about the VALR section, so given that LR is intertwined with VA, so do you think there is anything else that an aspirant should do to prepare for this section, or they should purely focus on LR sets like for other competitive examinations?
So I don't know much about other competitive exams. I definitely know very much about what we do at XAT. So I will give the perspective about our LR and our verbal ability. If you look at our verbal ability section or logical reasoning section, you would realize that our questions are not direct questions. They are based on interpretations, right? So if you are good at having interpretations from the passage, you can understand what is the answer, right? So focus on interpreting, right? Don't look for direct answers from the passage. This is number one. Number two, we also do some experiments in our question paper, right? Last year, those who have taken that of last year, they would know that we gave a cartoon, right? But those minor experiments are not to create trouble or give stress to our students. We do those little things because we also want to keep the paper light for our students, right? Students are already stressed out when they are taking tests, right? So, and since I have taken over this office, I always try to reduce the ambiguity around our question paper. So I would say that be open to such questions, even if, for instance, there is a poem or there is a cartoon in our verbal ability section or logical reasoning section. The answers we are expecting are on the same lines, and that's interpretation, right? So if you come across a cartoon or if you come across a poem, your objective should be to understand what is to be interpreted based on the question that has been asked, right? So get guided by the question, draw the interpretations, and then try to identify the right answer. When it comes to logical reasoning, again, we try to follow the same principle, how much understanding you can develop on the go about that particular stem or excerpt or cartoon, right? I guess, of course, we try to understand if you have logical way of thinking about the answer. If you have it, you can do it.
Okay. So sir, the next question is do you have any specific tips for aspirants targeting niche programs like business management or human resource management at XLRI?
So what do you ask? What is my specific, any strategy you ask?
Yeah, any tips, any strategy, like any tips?
So
do you have?
first important request is that do well in XAT, right? You have a month's time, right? So prepare really hard, right? Your exam is on 4th of January. You have enough time that completely dedicate yourself to the preparation of XAT. Go to our previous year's question papers. We have put a lot on our website. Otherwise, on internet also, our question papers are available. So this is the first thing you all need to do. Prepare well for the XAT and don't get worried. There was a myth around XAT that it's a difficult exam. I have tried to change that mindset. It is not a difficult exam. It's a smart exam for future leaders, and we are trying to tell this from the very beginning, right? In fact, there are students on campus. If you talk to them, there are lots of students, they say that, sir, we lost hope after a particular exam in the month of November, and then we realized whether you should take XAT or not. And many of them are sitting in our classes. Why? Because they never gave up and they kept trying, right? So if you are already done with other tests, which are about these schools, I would say don't give up on XAT. You never know where you have a chance. When it comes to our business management program and human resource management program, majorly you will have to get worried once you get shortlisted for XLRI Jamshedpur, right? So of course for business management program, we look forward to certain skills, or for HRM also, or human resource management program, we look forward to certain skills and competencies. Especially you need to be a good problem solver, a good critical thinker, and you also have to develop the value of doing it for others. We call it for the greater good. So I guess these are the things we look forward to our PGT, BM and PGT HRM students. And of course, in the interviews and in the group discussions, we look forward to those guys who are good, assertive. They know how to say their things out, that too politely, without hurting others, without cutting people short. That's what we look forward to as a behavior and attitude. And I guess because we live in a civilized society, that's what every B school expects in their candidates. And because you all are, of course, coming from decent places, decent schools, decent backgrounds, so you have you in it, or you already have those values. Just be self-aware. If you're self-aware, of course, you can make it not only to XLRI, to other important associate B schools that come under XAT.
So also you mentioned that GK is something that is additionally used to evaluate like a candidate's profile, but according to you, what should be an aspirant's take on it? Because GK is very vast. So should they focus on something particular when they're preparing for this particular section?
So you can say it GK, but we consider it as general awareness, right? So general awareness, I already initially told, that has two parts in it, right? In fact, if you read our XAT 2026 overview, we have mentioned it very clearly over there, that we have 12 questions on current affairs and we have 8 questions on static GK. So when it comes to current affairs, if you have kept your eyes and ears open for last 12 months, right, of course you will be able to attempt all the 12 questions, right? Don't get worried. Things which are common or which you might be coming across as news on different platforms. In fact, you can find a question which you might have come across on Instagram, right? So those things we try to take care, like we try to keep those facts in our general awareness. Those are common and they should be known to everybody. When it comes to static GK, again, our goal is to test that kind of a static GK which is important to us, not that something which is coming from very past and which has no relevance. And we majorly try to ask questions around what we have in our country, what is of nation's pride, right? Something related to India, something related to things which are related to India, right? Majorly things which concern us, doesn't matter whether it's current affair or static, but of course things which are going to in some ways impact us positively, negatively, and not only us, if once we join business schools and become leaders, how they are going to help us in future. So that is the objective. So again, for current affairs, if you have kept your ears and eyes open for last 12 months, I'm sure you would be able to handle GK or the current affairs part. And in static GK, we try to ask mostly questions around what is important to us as a nation.
Okay. And sir, could you recommend specific resources or strategies for the 1 month preparation that students have right now?
So, resources, I would always say that please solve previous year's question papers, right? So that is important, right? Go through our website, that website, we have our question papers over there. Or if you have resources in other places as well, you can always check. So please go through our previous year's question papers, number one. And also dedicate time to different sections. I would say you are preparing for other tests, so verbal ability and logical reasoning plus quantitative aptitude and data interpretation is taken care of. But there is one section which is not taken care of in other exams, that is decision making.
Yes.
So at least invest every day 30-35 minutes to that section and let your brain develop patterns subconsciously. And you never know, this training where you are training your hippocampus brain to develop patterns will come to your rescue when you will be handling your main exam, right?
Yeah.
In fact, this year we introduced lots of mock tests for our aspirants because we wanted them to have a feel of the real exam, right? And we are opening one very soon, the mock test, right? So once our mock tests are open, please get yourself registered as early as possible and take those mock tests to have a real feel of how the test would be. And on the top of it, our test takes place post lunch in the second shift. My request would be that at least 10 days prior to the test, start solving tests or start solving question papers post lunch so that your brain is ready to take tests post lunch on 4th of January 2026.
Yes. Also, so what are some common mistakes you believe that a lot of students make during the examination, and how can they possibly avoid them?
I would say these students are very smart, to be honest. They know what to do, what not to do, right? In fact, after psychologists said that after every 15 years, generation changes and they are in fact better than the previous generation. So I would say that there is not much to tell these students. They are very well informed, they are quite sensitive. But again, don't take too much of pressure on yourself, right? I would say stay calm, right? One or two questions if you cannot handle doesn't mean you cannot handle the question paper, right? And they don't decide your future. So when you are taking the test, don't let your amygdala brain hijack your rationality, right? Stay logical, stay conscious. You're struggling in one section in one or two questions, drop that section for a while, go to another section and start working on that section. Once you again gain confidence, come back to the section where you started with, right? So have a strategy of doing back and forth depending upon your strengths and weaknesses. Also, when it comes to decision making, if you have practiced enough, listen to your gut, right? Gut itself is a logical thing, right? If you go by gut Geiger. So if you have already practiced enough previous year's question papers, they will help. Don't try to look for, in decision making, look for a perfect answer, because there's nothing like perfect answer. You have to understand what is there in the stem and what is the decision maker interested in, right? So your stakeholders, your decision maker, resources, they should guide you, not that your options are telling you this is the best because they look the best, right? So use your understanding in decision making. For verbal ability, try to rely more on interpretations. Don't look for direct answers. When it comes to quantitative aptitude and data interpretation, we mostly ask questions where we want you to apply your understanding. We avoid giving formula-based questions except for a few. So try to apply your understanding and manage your time well, right? Too much of time or giving time to one section may somewhere impact your chances in other sections. So definitely you need to have a strategy. Dedicate your time equally to different sections based on your skills, and don't feel the pressure while taking the test. And as far as general awareness is concerned, if you have kept your ears and eyes open, that will help you in handling that section as well.
And sir, we know that XLRI has a very different process of selecting the students. Like we have a proper cutoff in XAT. After that, we call the students for interviews. Whoever clears that cutoff, right? So, what does XLRI look for in a student in those interviews? Like, how should student prepare for these interviews? If you can give some tips.
So we look forward to a candidate who can fit into Excel culture, right? And you guys know better about Excel culture, right? Excel is known for the greater good, right?
Yes.
In fact, when you join in first month itself, you are sent for campus immersion, right?
Yes.
So you need to be sensitive. You need to have a value system, and you need to exhibit that value system in your interviews. That's the first thing we want in every student, no matter where you come from, and also it doesn't matter which program you apply for. Along with that, we look towards how analytical you are, how logical you are. Even if you don't know the right answer, we are not expecting you to give right answer on every question. If you're honest enough to accept that you don't know the answer, is itself a good indicator that you're an honest guy over attempting something which is not right and you are sticking to it and trying to push it forward. If you want to do it, there is nothing wrong. You just say that I can try, or can I share my opinion on this, and that's very much welcomed by faculty members because they want people who should take risk by attempting things which they might not know. But bluffing that you don't know can actually play against you, right? If you don't know and you try that you know and you attempt it, can actually create confusion for the faculty members. So I would say that stay honest. What you know, you know. What you don't know, you don't know. And in case you want people to attempt something, if a question is asked, you tell the interviewers that you want to attempt, right? There is nothing wrong in it. And of course, along with analytical skills and being honest and working for the greater good, you need to have a strong sense of what we call the nationhood, in the sense you should work for nation building, or you should have this sense, to give back to your community. It's something we always look forward to in our students. I guess that's needed all across the programs. Of course, for business management and human resource management, there are some specialized questions, but we don't dig deep for a simple reason. We know that students don't have this background. If they have this background, they should not come to study with us, right? So objective is to look for best candidates who look forward to learning, those who have quest for excellence or thirst for excellence, those who review if they have done something to understand what were their strengths, what they were not so great at. If such kind of people we come across, of course they become the right candidates for XLRI.
And sir, how important is the personal interview and the GD for getting into XLRI? Because we know that XLRI does not give out any official weightage for the XAT percentile or the interviews. So what would you say, how important?
See, I will not speak much on this, but I can give you some hints.
Yeah.
There are students sitting in our classes who have not done so very greatly in academics in their graduations, right? You guys know about that, right? And then there are students who have done really well in their graduations, right? Or 10th, 12th standards, right? So we have all sorts of students. So you can imagine what we do, right? Of course, personal interview is important, but definitely over profile, we try to look forward to those kids who can make a difference. And that's what XLRI is known for, right? We want people of value. We want people who can become global leaders and take the country forward and can contribute to the society at large. I guess that's what we look forward to, and that's why we get all sorts of students from different backgrounds. So there is no preference as such. You may say that we don't reveal the weightages is a disadvantage to the candidate. We would say that it's actually something we use to get the best, right? If we, for instance, put this across, it may discourage a few who may be potential candidates. So we don't want to discourage those kids who might have not done so very greatly in their graduation, or they might, for some reasons, they could not score well in their 10th and 12th. So we want everybody to apply. Everybody has a chance, and if you come to Excel, of course, we will transform you into a great leader.
Alright. So just to follow up on that, are there any particular skills or qualities that you're looking in a candidate when you talk about group discussion or personal interview?
So of course, in group discussions, we look forward to people who are collaborative, right? Or those who have amazing skills to connect their thoughts with others, right? Their relationship orientation. And PI is also almost on the same lines. We want people with analytical skills, logical skills, people who can connect the dots. And then I talked about the value system we look forward to.
So sir, as the convener, what trends have you observed in the XAT over the years?
So I would say that the myth which has been around for quite some time, that XAT is a difficult exam, that myth was there, I guess, till 16, 17, right? Then we started changing the structure. Why? Because there was not much information available about XAT, right? In fact, if you take other tests now, which are run parallelly across along with XAT, you would have realized that you would not find that much of information we have now shared about XAT. For a simple reason, we don't want to put some candidates at advantage and some candidates at disadvantage. my objective, since I have taken over the office, that all the candidates who appear for XAT should have a similar advantage. There should be level playing ground. So earlier students used to think it was a difficult exam. Now we have started posting information about everything we do, right? We, in fact, our students come on YouTube channels and talk about the structure of the test, what did they do, how well they did, and what kind of strategies they follow. And not only our students, we invite the professors of different areas, previous years conveners, and the question paper setters. So one thing we have realized is because of that, the students' attitude towards XAT has changed. Students have number of aspirants is increasing for a simple reason. They have started developing trust in XAT. They know that we value their feedback, and they also know that as we have incorporated lots of changes in previous years. So I would say that students have also become more cooperative with us. When I say students, I mean aspirants, right? They share their inputs. We try to bring those inputs. Of course, we cannot make all the changes, but we are trying to make incremental changes. So number has been increasing. The candidates are showing interest. Candidates are also sharing feedback. These are the trends we are seeing. But one very important thing we have observed is that is about the behavior. But when it comes to the backgrounds of candidates, what we have realized in last few years, especially in last 3 years, both engineers and non-engineers are doing equally good in XAT. And I would actually, for that, give credit toward to the nature of our test. If you look at XAT, it is more of a holistic exam. We are not making it very number heavy, and we are not making it very qualitative. So what is happening is, if there is quantitative aptitude and data interpretation, we have a verbal ability and logical reasoning. And then there's a neutral section called decision making. So I guess it helps both engineers and non-engineers equally, and I guess they have a level playing ground, and that is also something which is helping candidates. So I would say that both engineers, non-engineers, their number is also increasing. The aspirants number is going up, and they are also doing equally good when we look at their scores. So I would say that that is also a positive sign, and people from different streams have also started taking up XAT, and you can see the kind of students we have on campus, right? We have students from literature background, we have students from political science background, we have students from mass communication, we have students from fashion technology, food technology. So that is something interesting, and also engineers, good number of engineers we have. So that is happening because the nature of test is evolving, and that is also appreciated by aspirants. So we are getting a good number of students with good variety of backgrounds, and that is contributing immensely to our class discussions.
Yeah. And sir, what's the deadline for XAT registration?
So deadline for XAT registrations is December 5.
Okay.
And we only have now 4 days left. It's already December 1st.
December 1st. Also, sir, could you share a little bit about the X Factor competition that was organized by XAT this year?
Yeah, so this year XAT introduced 2 case competitions actually. So they were conducted by a very important committee at XLRI called Ensemble Valhalla Committee, right? The students and the secretary of that committee, they were kind enough to give us support, and they collaborated with us. They also reached out to colleges to help the students understand the relevance. So this particular X Factor case competition was for undergrad students. It was, we had a good prize money in that particular case competition. We had prize money of 2 lakhs for both the tracks. We had a technical track and we had a non-technical track. So that was conducted. There were several rounds, and we could manage to get two set of winners also, and hopefully we'll release the prize money soon, right? Because a few weeks back we finished our Ensemble Valhalla final event. So I guess that was it. The objective of that particular case competition was to spread awareness among our undergrad students about what are business schools about, what kind of knowledge a student should develop while coming to a B school, or if they're preparing. And those who have won, if they are appearing for Xavier aptitude test, this case competition will give them not if an edge. Of course, it will give them some advantage because they have already developed an understanding of what we look forward to, because there were several rounds of discussions with them. So my suggestion would be that in future, if you are not you, if your juniors in your college are planning to take XAT, right? Please help them know about this case competition, XLRI and XAT, along with Ensemble organizes. And of course, the objective is to spread awareness about B school and the importance of business education.
And sir, can we talk a little bit about the culture at XLRI, because everybody knows that it's the oldest B school in India, but also if you can speak about the culture and the legacy.
So I would say you guys are the right people to talk about culture, because you are here for quite some time, right? But if you take my perspective as a professor, XLRI is more like a family. We call it XL family, right? In fact, the events we have on campus, we also give them a family touch, right? We have, for instance, Diwali festival. We call it XL Diwali, right? Holi also is celebrated in our own way. We call it XL Holi. So these are the things we follow. In fact, students can walk into our houses on Diwali, Holi. They can call us in the middle of the night and say, we want to meet you, sir. We want to have a cup of coffee. I guess that is something unique about XLRI. And not only that, students reach out, faculty members are also very welcoming, right? So students can barge in, they can talk about anything they want, not just about academics. And on the top of it, if they need help from outside, right, from our alums, they directly reach out to us and ask us to reach out to those alums, right? And our alums also respond to every request we make to them very positively. So I guess this family culture we have developed over the years is something which makes us unique. There is no arrogance among faculty members or among students, right? And everybody is ready to help and support. In fact, students can walk into our office and share their concerns. Even if they have some displeasure, they can share. And even faculty takes it without any anger or frustration about these students. So I guess for me, something to be proud of is the family culture, and that has made me to be here for over a decade.
Yeah.
Alright, sir. So just to take a few questions from the live chat, people are asking about the decision making section. Is it usually catering to general questions, or is it specific to a particular field like business or anything else?
So you would have realized that we don't want to test your business knowledge, because we know that students who come for taking the test, they are not all students have business background, right? So we try to keep the context neutral, and even if the context is business, we try to keep the questions neutral. So even if you don't have business knowledge or business understanding, you don't have to be worried. If you are using common sense, you will be able to handle decision making answers really smartly.
And sir, what should we expect for the difficulty for this time at XAT?
So I would say we never focus on difficulty. XAT is what XAT is, right? Of course, we are changing, we are evolving. I can say it in public. I don't know if other exams conveners have said this. Every year we conduct what we call difficulty analysis. We tried, and difficulty is not how difficult our questions are. How many questions were not attempted by students and how many questions were attempted by our students. We try to avoid all those questions which were not attempted in the previous years, for a simple reason. We know that such questions are not appreciated by students. We don't call them difficult. So we want only those questions students can attempt and which are doable. We never get into those questions which are not attempted. So we never try to focus on difficulty. We try to keep doable questions, and this year also you will get a doable paper if you are prepared well. Of course, you will be doing well in XAT, and you will be making it to XLRI or other associate B schools of that.
Alright. So as we are nearing the end of this conversation, we are proud to announce that iQuanta has made their XAT course free for all students, and this includes live sessions from all their top iQuanta faculties, and they will also be having mock tests for the next 30 days leading up to XAT 2026.
More than 1,000 students have registered in the last 30 minutes and would love if you could as well. Thank you.
Alright, so before we end the conversation, are there any concluding remarks that you'll possibly like for the aspirants to hear?
So my suggestion would be, you all are preparing very hard, right? And we also know that students are under tremendous pressure when they prepare for such tests. I have heard that of late one test has gotten over, right? Don't build a lot of pressure. Keep yourself free of pressure, right? Keep preparing and practicing. You do your best, and then leave a few things on whatever you believe in, God, chance, Mother Nature, right? But don't get yourself overstressed, right? If you have your fundamentals clear, you have practiced enough, go and do your best. Things will fall in place. All the best.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank
And we would like to thank Dr. Rahul Shukla for this amazing session helping the aspirants out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.